evening, everyone. Good evening, our live audience here in the theatre, as well as our live audience in the virtual land on YouTube. We are live for the very, very first time on YouTube, which is incredibly exciting. This is the first time that there has been live music in the theatre since February 2020. And I am incredibly excited for this evening. All of the pupils, all of the staff have been waiting for this moment, and it is so exciting. So this evening we've got some of our smaller ensembles performing for us. These are the ones that have been allowed to rehearse. We've been fairly limited in what we can do and when we have been able to do it. So we're going to hear from a number of our ensembles. We're also going to hear the world premiere of our Scholars Concert. For some of these pupils, this is not just their first concert since COVID. This is their first ever concert at Strathallan School, their first time ever playing with a PA system, first time ever playing with an audience. For some of these ensembles, it's the first time they've actually played in public since December 2019. Rehearsals have been somewhat limited and stifled in terms of what we've been able to do. Most of our rehearsals have actually been happening outside, in year group bubbles, split apart. But when we went to level 1 on June the 1st, we were able to start getting some of those together again. So a little bit of housekeeping for everyone just before we start. Pupils who are in here, thank you so much for sitting so well distanced and keeping your masks on. You will notice that our performers, as they're coming on, they will be setting up in a COVID-safe manner, which is keeping their social distance for our wind and brass and our singers as well. Ideally, in a normal concert, I wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't be welcoming, I wouldn't be introducing, and I wouldn't be making too much noise. But you'll see why we need a little bit of filler as we set up for this. I'm not going to do too much, I promise. So what you just heard there as our opening number was our percussion ensemble, and they were playing Children of Sanchez. The ensemble that's getting ready to come on now is our wind ensemble, who started off as a marching band outside because they weren't allowed inside in year group bubbles and have progressed to be able to come back inside. So I'm going to stop talking now, let them set up, and we will hear the wind ensemble, who are going to play a great Glenn Miller classic, which is American Patrol. Over to the wind ensemble to set up. So that there was our wind ensemble. So just to put that in context, at the beginning of this term when we arrived back, they were able to rehearse in year group bubbles outside. Unfortunately, the weather wasn't immediately with us when we returned, but we did have our tent to be able to do that. They then had some instruction from Mr. Muirhead in the piping department as well as to how to march, because we were going to do an American marching band outside performance. We were then able to get the year group bubbles together outside, and finally, we were able to do that performance inside as well. So as you can see now, we're being joined by our small string ensemble. So this is actually a string quintet. They started off as a quartet again, and we had a couple of smaller ensembles rehearsing for this, but they've ended up and finished off as a quintet. So they are going to be playing for us this evening. They're going to be playing a piece of Mozart, and this is Divertimento, Movement 2 in D major. I will hand over to our string quintet, and I very much hope you enjoy. absolutely stunning there from our senior string quintet, and many of whom, unfortunately, we're losing as well at the end of this year. So it was lovely that they got a chance to perform for the last time. I'm going to ask the Prep School Orchestra to start coming up and getting themselves ready for their performance at the moment, if that's okay. Yeah, start making your way onto the stage for me. Our prep school, I feel, have had a particularly hard deal over the last 18 or so months. As music teachers, myself, Mrs. Simsace, Mr. Hamilton, we didn't quite realise, I don't think, how much when we're teaching younger pupils we rely on singing to demonstrate everything we're doing, and as part of our everyday sort of music lessons and things like this. So for these guys, it's actually been incredibly difficult, both inside the classroom and in all of our rehearsals. They have been luckier in that they've been able to rehearse some more, that we've been able to get them together a bit more often. And what we're going to see tonight is a version of Loch Lomond performed by some of, not at full strength quite yet, but most of our prep school orchestra. So I'll hand over to our prep school orchestra for their version of Loch Lomond. So thank you there to our prep school orchestra. Absolutely amazing to hear them play again after such a long time, and such an amazing job actually after so few rehearsals. Really, really impressive job. So next up we have our third and fourth form rock bands. This is the first of 3 rock bands that we're going to hear this evening. Just to give you a bit of context as to how these guys were rehearsing, guitars, drums, keyboards, all that sort of stuff were absolutely fine to be rehearsing almost as normal, but socially distant with masks. You'll see we also have a singer coming up to perform with us. It was a bit of a rough deal for singers this term. So Sophie, in her first rehearsals that she was there for, she was actually put in a completely different room to everyone else and had a microphone with a cable trailing around the department next to a window so that they could hear her. She couldn't really hear very much of what they were doing, relying on hearing it through walls and through doors. Really, really not ideal for a rock band to rehearse in different rooms. But eventually we were able to get them all together, and this evening they are going to give us a rendition of On Top of the World, which is a very well-known Imagine Dragons track. So I'll hand over to our third and fourth form rock band. Thank you very much there to our third, fourth form rock band. You'll just need to bear with us slightly now for a second as we kind of transform. We are actually going to show a couple of pre-recorded performances now. We were planning and absolutely hoping to be able to do everything live for you this evening, but unfortunately, slightly the logistics of it got the better of us. So our pipe band and our drum line will be performing this evening, but they have kind of phoned in pre-recorded performances. Absolutely amazing job, so a massive thank you there to all the staff there. So that is our drum major, and I think it was Mr. Fraser who was in doing these as well. So we are going to see a performance by the senior pipes first. They are going to be playing Dreams of Old Pa Fogherty, Captain Horne, followed by Lexy McAskill. That will then go into a drum fanfare, which is the Salute to the Fallen. So I do hope you enjoy our pipe band and our drum. So this is really exciting for us to be able to sing inside this evening. So I'm going to ask the vocal ensemble to come on stage, and we will get ourselves ready. This is a rendition of, it's actually a male voice choir piece with some added ladies basically doing the bits that we can't do because we haven't been singing enough to sing high enough. And this is a piece called Vive l'amour, which is actually a cheers, basically. It's officially a drinking song, but this is actually something you should be raising a glass to. And this is Vive l'amour.
Let's have a good fellow and join in this song.
Vive la compagnie!
Success to each other, pass it along.
Vive la compagnie! Vive la, vive la, vive l'amour! Vive la, vive la, vive l'amour! Vive l'amour, vive l'amour! Vive la compagnie! Come all you good fellows and join in with me. Vive la compagnie! And raise up your voices in close harmony. Vive la compagnie! Vive la, vive la, vive l'amour! Vive la, vive la, vive l'amour! Vive l'amour, vive l'amour! Vive la compagnie! Should time or occasion compel us to part, vive la compagnie! These days shall forever enlighten the heart. Vive la, vive la, vive la, vive la, vive la, vive la, vive l'amour! Vive la, vive la, vive l'amour! Vive la, vive la, vive la, vive la, vive la, vive la compagnie! Vive la, vive la, vive l'amour! Vive la, vive la, vive l'amour! Vive la, vive la, vive l'amour! Vive la, vive la compagnie!
Let every your bachelor fill up his glass.
Vive la compagnie! And drink to the health of his favorite lass! Viva! Let every old married man drink to his wife. Vive la compagnie! The joy of his bosom and comfort of life. Vive la compagnie! Vive la, vive la, vive l'amour! Vive la, vive la, vive l'amour! Vive l'amour, vive l'amour! Vive la compagnie! Vive la, vive la, vive l'amour! Vive la, vive la, vive l'amour! Vive la, vive la, vive l'amour! Vive la compagnie!
Vive la, vive l'amour, vive l'amour, vive l'amour, vive l'amour,
La compagnie!
An amazing job from all of those guys and our guest ladies as well, so thank you to all of them. Next up, we have our prep rock band. These guys are not just performing for the first time since COVID. They are performing as a rock band for the first time ever. For some of these guys, this is kind of the first time they've ever used a microphone. This is the first time they've ever had an audience. This is the first time they've shared it outside of this room. They have done such an amazing job. Their confidence is absolutely off the scale with this. And I'm so, so proud to be able to introduce our prep school rock band who are going to be performing a version of Stevie Wonder's Superstition.
Hi, we're Riley Rocks, and we're performing Superstition. ain't the way.
What an amazing job from those guys. So we had Alfie on drums there, we had Annabelle on keys, we had Serena on bass, we had Sanaya on ukulele and vocals, and Sophie on vocals. Should we give them another big round of applause for an amazing first performance there from our prep school rock band. So next up we have something that is actually incredibly special and a bit of a one-off. This year celebrates the Fogherty 100, which is the centenary of the school moving to its current site here in Fogherty. To celebrate this, we have had our music scholars working on a actually quite huge project all year. Right back in September, I approached an incredibly well-known, popular, and well-awarded composer, Scottish composer called Stuart McRae. And I do hope he's watching this evening as well. And I approached him and I said that I wanted a bespoke piece of music to be written for our scholars to perform tonight. I wanted the scholars to do most of the writing, come up with most of the ideas, and give those ideas to him. I then wanted them to get a part with their name at the top of it that only they would be able to play. Unfortunately, it was fairly clear from us sort of by October time that actually a live performance of this was going to be somewhat tricky. So this is a project that has gone on all year. I've totted up what we've been doing, and amongst various people, we've probably put in over 300 hours worth of work to get this 11-minute video sorted for this evening. This is part of the school archives. This is now a stamp in the school's history. This is where we are at as a school 100 years after we moved here. So Stuart has written a suite of 5 short pieces performed by our scholars. Each of them has a title which will be displayed. They are based on the school values, and you'll hear the lyrics and things referencing the school values and what the values mean to our scholars and some of the pupils. Every single melody and musical idea you hear is actually also based on words that mean something to the school. So you'll hear a movement called Strathallan and Fogherty. And what the composer has done is use something called musical ciphers, which is where he assigns every letter of the alphabet a musical note. So the melodies that you'll hear are actually spelling out using musical ciphering certain words. It's more intrinsic than just the names of Fogherty, Strathallan School, things like that. Within these ciphers, we actually have the pupil names as well. So many of the main melodic motifs are actually the ciphers of the people who are then playing them and other people playing them as well. An incredibly complicated process. So a few thank yous before we watch this. Obviously to Stuart McRae for writing this. He's done a phenomenal job working with our scholars, and they have absolutely loved working with him over the course of this year. I need to say another huge thank you to Dylan, who's the professional videographer who came and shot all of these. The pupils really enjoyed working with him on this. Also to Mr. Christie, who's been bouncing around doing various bits and pieces. He did absolutely the lion's share of the sound engineering and recording and editing of the sound for this, and it's absolutely sounding amazing, as well as to a big team of people sort of all around us that have put this together. So this is the world premiere of the Strathallan suite, and Stuart McRae is going to say a short 30-second intro about it before we watch it. Do sit back and enjoy.
Hello, I'm the composer, Stuart McRae. It's been an absolute pleasure working with the music scholars of Strathallan School, and this project has been a ray of hope and sunshine over the last few months. I've tried to create a varied suite of pieces that uses everyone's talents, incorporating many ideas from the scholars themselves, as well as embedding the school's values and even its name into the music. I'm very grateful for all the hard work and dedication that students and staff have put into creating this excellent production, and I hope you all enjoy the Strathallan suite as much as I enjoyed making it. Thank you.
Give up on pride, but still maintain your dignity. I'd rather be honest and impressive. Humility and respect. Give up on pride, but still maintain your dignity. I try to be honest. Humility and respect.
I'm so proud of the scholars for that. It's absolutely ridiculous how amazing that is. What I'm just going to do, though, the audience at home probably won't see this. Can any of the scholars that are in here please just stand up so we can give you a round of applause actually in person? All you guys hiding outside, just come out so we can give all of our music scholars a massive round of applause. Jazz band, you can come on. So that's the sum of 300 hours work there, finished in 11 minutes. Good. Next. So we've got our jazz band now. This is another one of our ensembles that's been through about 10 different incarnations since we came back at the beginning of term. The lovely and affectionately named Music Squid, which is the stretch tent that the headmaster and the bursar have very generously bought for us. We started off rehearsing there, and it was absolutely tipping down with rain every single week, every time we went out there to try and rehearse this. So we sort of gave up a little bit. Then as soon as we were then able to come and rehearse a bit inside, the sun came out, and we actually wished we were outside. So we've not had a huge amount of rehearsal. We've actually only rehearsed this twice, I think, all together as a group. So we're going to play two relatively short pieces. So this is our jazz ensemble. First of all, we're going to play actually an incredibly tricky piece called The Hornet by a group called the Yellow Jackets. We're going to play sort of the first half of that. Yeah, mate. Cool. Guitar malfunction. So we're going to play the Hornet first by a group called the Yellow Jackets. We're then going to play a pretty well-known jazz blues standard called Watermelon Man to finish. You'll hear lots of solos, as you've been hearing this evening as well. So the custom in jazz, in case you haven't done it, audience, is every time someone gives a solo, when they finish, even though it's in the middle of the music, you give them a round of applause to acknowledge how... Oh, Seb. Just can't help it. The custom is in a jazz band, every time we hear a solo, after the end of the solo, we give a little round of applause. If you're not sure when that should be, just keep half an eye on me on the keyboard and I'll try and cue you right. If you want to have a little round of applause at home as well, you are very welcome. So this is the Hornet, followed by Watermelon Man. Mostly claps in the right place, so well done. I'm proud of you all. So next up, before we hear our sort of last performances, we're actually going to hear from our massed pipe bands. I do want to say a big thank you before we see this. We've actually got a number of pipers who have come here, even though they're not performing this evening, to support the rest of the concert. So pipers who are here, thank you so much. I really appreciate your support. It really does mean a lot. And you should be incredibly proud of what you've managed to achieve in equally trying times to everything we have achieved as well. So well done to all of you. So what we'll do is, before we hear our final mass pipes, let's give a big round of applause, please, to all of our pipers. Damn, that's not entirely down yet. We'll try again. Has the live stream already started with the video? No, it's all right. So we're going to hear from our pipers. We're going to hear Scotland the Brave, followed by Rowan Tree. Hope you enjoy. So before we have our last performance, this evening is traditionally our kind of final big hurrah at the end of the year to say thank you and actually goodbye to a lot of our upper sixth. So we've had an amazing, amazing team, and I'm so sorry to all the upper sixth that are leaving this year that you haven't managed to leave under ordinary circumstances. But what you've managed to do and achieve, and lots of them are hiding out there, I can see them, is absolutely phenomenal. And this is across the board. This is in the music department, the piping department, within expressive arts. You should all be incredibly, incredibly proud of yourself. The message to take with you, and I'm talking to the upper sixth now and any other upper sixth that are there that I can't quite see, is that this is your end of your Strathallan journey, not the end of your musical journey. So just make sure you stay humble, keep playing, and remember why we do music, and it's because we love it, okay? There are a little crew of people who actually, over the last year, have kind of been my extra set of hands. That all of the stuff that you've kind of seen happening on social media, online, recordings, Zoom meetings, rehearsals, everything that possibly you don't even realize is happening is pretty much orchestrated and puppeteered by this little crew of our heads of various things. So I've got a fairly small, to be honest, token of appreciation. So for the gents, we've got a lovely engraved tankard, and for the ladies, we've got you a lovely salver. So I want to say publicly and personally, on behalf of myself, on behalf of the entire music team and school, a massive thank you to Alex White, who has been our head of choir this year. Ben Morrison, who is our head of woodwind. Izzy Beechan, our head of brass. Madeline Sace, our head of strings. Izzy Donald, who is our head of musical theatre. And Mina Ower, who is our head of chapel music. So I would like if all of those people could just come out, get some applause, and I'll give you a small something to say thank you. Amazing. I love you all. There are boxes that you can grab afterwards, okay? So don't worry, you don't have to carry them around. Thank you so much. You're done now. You're dismissed. With the leaving and departing of one set of up sixth means we can welcome up a new set of responsibility people. So ordinarily, this is where we announce our new heads of, and it's going to be no different this evening. We have mixed it up a little bit, and there may be some unexpected surprises for some people in here. So our new head of choir from next year will be Seb Perez. The next one, I don't think she's here, I haven't seen her, is our head of brass will be Millie Wilson. Our head of strings next year will be Sophie Chapman. Our head of musical theatre is going to be Iona Fleming, who I haven't seen yet this evening, but we'll give her a round of applause anyway. Iona Fleming. And our head of chapel music is going to be Ava Keating. This is the little surprise bit. With our change to our structure, we're actually going to be potentially losing some people at the end of lower sixth due to the one-year hires. So we felt it was only fair that they got some sort of opportunity to lead. So for the first time, we're going to have some lower sixth heads of. We're going to have our head of percussion is going to be Lewis Dewar, and our head of woodwind, Struan Davey. So both of them, please come out. A few more, we're nearly there, I promise, we're nearly there. A few more thank yous there. I want to say big thank you to Paul at the back, who's been running the sound for us, and likewise at home on YouTube, you're hearing his mixes. Without him, it would just sound absolutely atrocious, so thank you so much, Paul. I want to also just say, because I hope they're watching, to Dylan, who did the videography and the Scholars Concert, and to Stuart McRae, obviously the composer, I'd like to say a big thank you to you and give you another round of applause. We've also got Dom Glasgow at the back, who has been running all the camera angles, the live stream, and quite frankly, without him, there almost certainly would have been no live stream at all. Full stop. So thank you so much, Dom. You'll have seen various VMTs running in and out, helping with bits and pieces. So we've got Mr. Christie, Fraser Christie here somewhere, so thank you to him, and to Pete Murch as well. Thank you for everything you've done this year and moving forward. So much appreciated, and for all your support, so thank you to both of you. Of course, our amazing piping team, who we've seen as well this evening. So we've got David, Josh, who we saw as part of the videos there, but also we need to say a massive thank you to Mr. Muirhead for organising those recordings. Despite him not being able to be here this evening, he's still done lots of work there behind the scenes. So thank you to all the whole piping department. It would be remiss of me not to say thank you to Hammy, Neil at the back. He's been running around so much today, organising everything, and it makes life so much easier for the rest of us to know that we can rely on someone like him just to get things done. It's been so much appreciated today, as it has all year, so thank you so much, Neil. Obviously, I thank Neil. We've also got Carol Simsace. This is more than just a thank you for tonight. I'm not going to cry. You're not allowed to, Head, now if I do, okay? That's the rules. Carol's leaving us at the end of this year. I don't really know what to say. Thank you. Stop looking at me. I'm not going to cry. The last one I've got on my list is the hardest one. It's the pupils. I don't even think I can say anything. Thank you, everything. You're not allowed to cry. I've done that for you.
I'm not that tall. Elbows, Mr. Gates. Elbows, well done, well done. Right, well, there's no show without punch. Boys and girls and members of staff here and everybody watching online, it is Headmaster's music. We do finish off the year, and what a treat we've had in spite of everything. You can talk a lot about what we've not had. You can talk a lot about the problems, everything that's had to be overcome, how it's not normal, and so on. You can spend a lot of time doing that if you want. But I think tonight demonstrates what we have had. What the pandemic has done has definitely changed things, but not all for the worse. I mean, behind the scenes, which you don't see because you can't get out your cars as a parent, you can't turn up in person. This is the first audience we've had for quite a long time, to certainly anything major. What happens is behind the scenes, online, and then outside, and then inside, and so on. Hours and hours and hours of practice and rehearsal and creativity. And I think it's the creativity, not just in terms of musical performance, but in creativity in getting past the barriers put in the way that this pandemic has caused. To try to get, maybe not the same experience, but a valuable experience nonetheless in this pandemic, so that music continues, so that learning continues, so that even though it's different, it's still exciting, it's still challenging, it's still new, it's still refreshing. So if you look for the positives in these challenging times, you're much more likely to accelerate out of the problems of the pandemic, taking the school and its opportunities and its pupils, which ultimately is what we're here for, taking them forward to greater and to new heights. I don't think there was a weak performance remotely this evening, and that's testament to all the work that's gone on behind the scenes. So tonight, if it was your first performance, or if it was your last performance, or if it's one of more to come, then congratulations, well done, thank you. So great just to be in here listening to music. I mean, the word dream behind me on the Shakespeare stage, which is about to move outside next week. I mean, it is a bit like a dream in some ways, but behind the scenes, lots of hard work, dedication. And I want to thank the parents too, because without the parents, without your enthusiasm, encouragement, investment in your children, in time, in music lessons, and all those different things behind the scenes, particularly in lockdowns, particularly, and we've had 2 of those terms in the last 5 terms. Without you, this wouldn't have been as good. Without the pupils, of course, it wouldn't have happened. Without the staff, it wouldn't have happened. So to add my thanks to the thanks given by the Director of Music, Mr. Gooch, this evening, to all the VMTs, to all the staff up there doing amazing things technically, thank you very much indeed. Can I ask all the pupils and other staff present tonight, just one more time to thank the VMTs, the technical staff, and the music department with a huge round of applause and say thank you very much. The core and the heart of music at Strathallan, of course, as well as it being the pupils, but the coordination, the drive, the nagging that has to take place. It's an essential part sometimes. The cajoling, the encouragement, the forgiveness that's required that goes on day in, day out, week in, week out, term in, term out, in order to put exciting school music together with everything else our pupils have to deal with. But it's embodied really by our 3 music staff, Mr. Hamilton, Mrs. Sanchez, and Mr. Gooch. So having thanked all the other staff, I particularly want to highlight their work, particularly in the last 2 years. I've got one more thing after this thanks that I want to do about some of our leavers. But I want to focus on those 3 because essentially without that drive, vision, cooperation and so on, and as difficult as it's been, the ambition, the courage, the drive and the determination is to be marvelled at. So let's thank our 3 members of the music department. Now, in these days of mental health awareness and so on, men showing their emotions is to be a good thing, so no apologies needed. I want to finish this bit by just saying thank you to the pupils. I mean, in the end, it is about you, and you're the ones who have to get up there and do it. And after so many non-performances or online performances and so on, it takes guts and courage to get up and to do that, particularly in an audience of your peers. It's sometimes easier in front of your parents because you know they're going to applaud, but to do it in front of your peers can be overwhelming. So not just those who did it for the first time, but frankly, all of you, really congratulations. Well done to all of you. So give yourselves and the staff here and everybody at home, please, for one more time, thank all our musicians, whether they're in the room or whether they're watching online or whether they're in a play rehearsal or whatever else they're doing. Well done to the pupils. One quick point of housekeeping before my final comment, and that is that Alex White, who you've seen perform several times this evening and who came up for a trophy and so on, wrote to me for permission for his beard. It is part of his part in the play, and because he so politely wrote and didn't assume he just could, I did, for the first time in my career as headmaster, give formal permission for a member of the student body to have a beard formally. So it's looking a bit twirly, Alex, but after next week's play, better be off. So just in case anybody's tutting on the standards of dress in the school, that one was legit. Now, Carol Sanchez, I won't embarrass Carol by saying how many years she's been here, but Carol has been involved in music at Strathallan for a considerable amount of time, and Carol is retiring at the end of this term. I don't think she'll be any less busy. I think she'll possibly be busier, but I think you'll have the freedom to go off and do some of the things you've always really wanted to do. I'm only a little bit jealous. Actually, I'm quite a lot jealous, Carol. But we're really grateful to you for everything you've put into this school over the years, for all your hard work, encouragement, and all the rest of it, in chapel, in Riley House, then in the prep school, and of course in senior school. We owe you a huge debt of thanks and gratitude. So in a minute, I'm going to get Mr. Hamilton to come down with a little gift for you, which I won't present because of all the restrictions in place, which means you're saved from a hug from the headmaster. So count your blessings. Were they? Oh, they're there. So I'll pass it over in a very COVID-safe way in just a second, Carol. But thank you very much indeed for everything you've done. Mr. Gooch, who's lurking out here. Mr. Gooch has been here for 4 years. Mr. Gooch is not retiring, I'm pleased to say. Mr. Gooch is going off to be a housemaster in another HMC school in the north of England. And actually, I'm really not jealous about what Mr. Gooch is going to have to do. I've done my housemastering, and it's not something I think I'm maybe ready to go back to. So, but I wish him well. Mr. Gooch, in 4 years, has made an extraordinary impact on the music in this school. He has been courageous. He has been daring. He has been challenging. He has been persistent. He has been determined. And all of you sitting in here who are involved in music have benefited from that. And maybe you haven't realized the full extent of what Mr. Gooch and certainly Mrs. Sanchez have done for you. But it takes that to move music in a school forward. If we're going to accelerate out of that, it's because of the work of the music staff, but it's particularly because of the dedication that you've seen in teachers like Mrs. Sanchez and the drive and determination, creativity and inspiration that you get from directors of music like Mr. Gooch. So Strathallan is in a great place, and I think you'll agree having seen tonight. And I have to single out the Strathallan suite as something quite remarkable, really quite special, and something we are very proud of as a school. I'd seen some snippets before, but I have to say, having seen the whole thing for the first time tonight, really blown away with it. So huge congratulations there. None of that happens without these staff and under the leadership of Mr. Gooch. So for both of you, we wish you Godspeed. We wish you every success in the future. We want you to stay in touch and understand what you're up to. Come back and visit any time, and come back and see everything that goes from what you've done and how much further it goes in the future because of all those foundations and all that hard work that you've put in. When teachers get upset and emotional, and they should, it's a sign that they've put their heart and soul and they've lived it. You should respect that and you should value it, because I do. So can both of you come out to a huge round of applause? Let's say thank you. To everybody watching online, well done you lot for being patient and well behaved. That's good to see. And to everybody at home, thank you for supporting. I hope to see you in person soon. But in the meantime, stay well, stay safe, and stay distant. Mr. Gooch, I'll leave it to you to round it off. Thanks very much.
Fine example of COVID world there, that we can't even share a microphone and we have to swap it in between us because we can't get that close. Thank you, Headmaster, for all those very kind words about, well, the pupils. I did have a lot more I was going to say, by the way, but I'm glad I was succinct. Our final performance is the Senior Rock Band, and they can come on and start getting themselves sorted. They are playing a piece by an incredibly well-known kind of jazz fusion funk band called Snarky Puppy. Snarky Puppy basically reinvented music for like instrumental music. Every single concert gig they've ever done has been completely live. They don't ever pre-record anything, which is actually quite incredible. This is a fiendishly difficult piece of music that they're going to be playing here. It's my absolute honour that they've kind of invited me to come and play as part of this as my sort of final performance here at Strathallan. So I'm absolutely honoured. Senior Rock Band, thank you so much for entertaining me and allowing me to come and play. So this is our Senior Rock Band, and this is Binky. I've already said it a million times, but let's hear it for all the performers again this evening. One last time. Thank you to everyone for coming and supporting us, and thank you so much to everyone who's been at home watching from YouTube. I really do hope you have enjoyed your time with us this evening. Good night.